model. The livery consisted of a green and gold strip running around the bottom of the fuselage and continuing right up until the tail cone. The forward/upper portion was white, and at the rear, it was an off-white forward/beige color. The bottom part of the tail blended into the upper fuselage as it too is white, with the rest of the tail painted with a large wavy Pakistan flag, which takes up the whole tail, in a dark green color. At the front of the fuselage, PIA was written in a billboard style in dark green, and underneath Pakistan was written in golden color. Just behind the cockpit, there is a stylized Urdu PIA logo as well as on the engines. In July 2014, on the delivery of the first of 320 series aircraft, PIA introduced a crescent and star on the aircraft engine's cowlings in place of the Urdu PIA logo. In 2015, after the completion of 60 years service, the 1960S livery was applied to 3 of the Airbus A320s and on one Boeing 777-200. In April 2018, PIA formally launched a new brand identity and livery and added a portrait of the Mark IV in a ceremony held at PIA offices in Islamabad, presented by the then head of brand of PIA, having Pakistan's national animal represented on its aircraft, including a large one on the tail and 2 on the engines, describing the resilient nature of PIA brand surviving under the onslaught of all the negativity associated with the brand. The symbol of animal was chosen for its universal recognition, as the Urdu calligraphy logo of PIA could not be comprehended by non-Pakistani customers. In essence, the idea was to make PIA a truly international brand based on the values of resilience, grace and fortitude, something which PIA had lost with increased focus on ethnic traffic. The tail had a forward-leaping Mark IV having long screw horns, which are the features of Kashmiri Mark IV endemic to Pakistan only. According to the initial plan, a Euro-white style was chosen and existing green and golden strips were removed from the aircraft fuselage along with off-white forward/beige color on the rear fuselage, but later a major rebranding was carried out. The font of the PIA logo was also changed and added to the fuselage. For the first time, legacy PIA colors, Pakistan green and mustard gold, were dropped and a blue texture was added in the PIA acronym, expanding the color palette for the brand. Urdu PIA logo color was also changed from the yellow-green gradient texture. The airline slogan was also changed to "We fly at the right attitude, from great people to fly with." The first aircraft with the redesigned livery was converted on the 12th of May 2018 and rolled out of Ifani hangar by the method of decals to make a debut at the new Islamabad International Airport. The rebranding was halted on suo moto notice taken by Supreme Court of Pakistan on fears of spending millions on the rebranding and not paying the salary of the staff on time. The Supreme Court of Pakistan suo moto notice barred PIA from using the Mark IV logo as its brand identity. The Supreme Court later gave orders to retain the flag on the tail and disposed of the case. However, with the management change, the rebranding was abandoned altogether. Currently, the airline is operating a hybrid livery which features a Euro-white fuselage and gold Urdu logo in front of the front exits and engine cowling, while the flag tail, English PIA, and Pakistan International in gold, titles in dark green and Pakistan titles in dark green on the belly have been retained from the 2010 livery. The PIA corporate website was also added ahead of the aft exits. Currently, 5 Boeing 777s and 3 A320s are sporting this livery. Services, edit. Catering, edit. PIA Catering is the main supplier of meals for the airline at Islamabad and Karachi. It can produce 15,000 passenger meals each day. In 2006, the management of the flight kitchens was given to Singapore Air Terminal Services, SATS. This agreement ended in 2011 and PIA is managing the flight kitchens in Karachi and Islamabad itself. As of April 2019, an MOU was signed between PIA and McDonald's for the airline's catering. PIA Catering provides special meals to allow for passengers' dietary and religious needs. No alcoholic beverages or pork are served on board due to Islamic dietary laws. PIA Premier Service, edit. PIA Premier was launched as a luxury air service on the 14th of August 2016. An Airbus A330 aircraft was initially wet leased from Sri Lankan Airlines to operate the service. There were 6 weekly flights to London, 3 each from Islamabad and Lahore. In-flight entertainment, edit. Pakistan International Airlines was the first international airline to introduce entertainment system showing a regularly scheduled film on board in the year 1962. In-flight internet, edit. In January 2017, the airline began trials on an onboard internet system to deliver in-flight entertainment on some domestic flights. The system allows passengers to access a selection of in-flight entertainment content using their own mobile devices. PIA offers personal screens on Boeing 777 flights with in-flight movies, music and TV shows. The Boeing 777 IFE also features an in-flight map and air show. Selected A320s feature drop-down screens with in-flight map and air show. Precision Engineering Complex, edit. The Precision Engineering Complex, PEC, includes the following facilities. 1 Binocular Assembly. 2 Calibration Facility. 3 Glass Fiber Composite Manufacturing. 4 Investment Casting Facility. 5 Machine Shop. 6 Material Testing Laboratory. 7 Non-Destructive Testing Facility. 8 Optics. 9 Printed Circuit Boards, PCB. 10 Plating Facilities. 11 Packaging Plant. 12 Shot Peening. Ground Handling, edit. PIA provides ground handling services to the following airlines. 1 Air China. 2 China Southern Airlines. 3 Gulf Air. 4 Qatar Airways. 5 Oman Air. 6 Saudi Air. 7 Sri Lankan Airlines. 8 Uzbekistan Airways. Cargo Operations, edit. PIA operates a cargo delivery system within Pakistan. PIA Cargo transports goods across Pakistan as well as to international destinations. These goods include meat and vegetables, textiles, paper products, laboratory equipment and postal mail. During the early 1970s, PIA operated a service called Air Express that delivered documents and parcels within Pakistan. In 1974, PIA launched a dedicated cargo division within its organization using 2 Boeing 707-320C. This division was known as Pakistan International Cargo. The airline operated several cargo flights to the Middle East such as Dubai and Europe, especially London. The operations ended in the late 1990s when both aircraft were phased out. During 2004 to 2007, the airline again operated 2 Airbus A300 freighter aircraft chartered through MNG Airlines to Hahn, Luton, Amsterdam, Basel and Cologne. However, again the contract ended and PIA discontinued this service. In 2003, the airline launched PIA SpeedX, a courier service initially in Karachi, Lahore, Rawalpindi and Islamabad. This expanded to 12 cities within a year. Today, the airline serves over 70 locations within Pakistan, with shipments collected and delivered from customers' homes. In 2019, the new PIA management experienced a sharp increase in the airline's cargo space utilization, from 20% to almost 80%. PIA currently offers cargo service for these international destinations: Abu Dhabi, Bangkok, Barcelona, Birmingham, China, Beijing, Copenhagen, Doha, Dubai, Jeddah, Kabul, Kuala Lumpur, London, Manchester, Medina, Milan, Muscat, Najaf, Oslo, Paris, Riyadh, Sharjah, Tokyo, Narita and Toronto, Canada. Corporate sponsorship, edit. The airline has sponsored events, both within Pakistan and in its overseas markets. In the 1990s, the airline launched the 3 green stripe livery to represent its support for sports. The airline supports the Pakistan International Airlines first-class cricket team that plays in the Quaid-i-Azam Trophy and Patrons Trophy. PIA sponsors the PIA Football Club and the A1 Team Pakistan in the A1 Grand Prix Open Wheel Auto Racing Series when it was initially launched. The airline also promotes the Shandar Polo Gala, that takes place every year in the Chaitral and Gilgit regions of northern Pakistan during the summer period. PIA has had its own sports division since 1958, promoting sports within Pakistan such as cricket, hockey, football, squash, polo, tennis, bridge, chess, table tennis, cycling, and bodybuilding. PIA has its own Boy Scouts Association, PIA BSA, working in partnership with Pakistan Boy Scouts Association. After a devastating earthquake in 2005, PIA BSA worked in partnership with other charity organizations to provide relief help. PIA was one of the official sponsors of the Destination Pakistan 2007 festivals. The official logo was added to a select number of aircraft during the year. In 2008, PIA teamed up with mobile phone provider Ufone to provide air miles to passengers who used the mobile network. Standard Chartered Bank and PIA launched credit cards allowing passengers to earn air miles. In 2009, PIA was the gold sponsor for Logistics Pakistan, an exhibition and conference poised to highlight the emerging opportunities for the logistics sector in Pakistan. In 2009, PIA and the Pakistan Remittance Initiative, PI, formed a strategic alliance to promote world money transfers. PIA has planetariums in Karachi and Lahore that enable the public to see static aircraft as well as astronomy shows. PIA Horticulture, set up in 1996, provides flowers for display in PIA's offices and events, winning awards and accolades at flower exhibitions across the country. The airline supports non-profit organizations within Pakistan such as Al-Shifa Trust, Zindagi Trust, the Citizens Foundation, and Sindh Institute of Urology and Transplantation. In 2009, PIA teamed up with the fast food franchise McDonald's to offer passengers discounts on meals and upgrades. PIA also owns 3 hotels: the Roosevelt Hotel, the Scribe Hotel and Skirrooms, Private, Limited. The airline also has an agreement with Pearl Continental Hotels for its UAE-based passengers. Charter and Special Services, edit. State Officials Transportation, edit. PIA has been continuously serving government officials of Pakistan and has always transported the President and Prime Minister on overseas visits. During the late 1990s, a PIA Boeing 737-300 was used for official visits by the Bhutto and Sharif governments. The aircraft wore official government colors but was later repainted in the airline official colors at the end of the decade. When the government changed after a military coup in 1999, the Boeing 737-300 was transferred to PIA permanently. The President and Prime Minister then resorted to using 2 of PIA's Airbus A310-300s for official visits, while rare trips were done on regular commercial flights of the airline. In February 2007, the government of Qatar gifted an Airbus A310 from its VIP fleet to the Pakistani government. This ended the need for the use of PIA aircraft. However, from time to time the government uses one of the airline's Airbus A320s, or occasionally a Boeing 777, for official trips. Charter services, edit. PIA operates private charter flights using ATR-42s to Pit, Kadanwari and Sihwan Sharif in Sindh as well as to other parts of the country for oil and gas companies and other customers. Ad hoc charters for United Nations peacekeeping troops are also carried out to Africa and Eastern Europe, Asia, South Korea, Afghanistan, Tajikistan, East Timor, and many other international destinations. PIA charter team provides these services. Hajj and Umrah operations, edit. PIA operates a 2-month, pre- and post-Hajj operation each year to and from Saudi Arabia. PIA transported over 100,000 intending pilgrims each year to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia until its fleet shrank to 25 aircraft in 2011-2012. Since then, the airline's Hajj quota was reduced to 60,000 to 70,000 pilgrims by the then government. Special services. A PIA plane carrying desperately needed medical supplies landed in Afghanistan on Monday, the World Health Organization said, the first such flight since the Taliban took control of the country 2 weeks prior. He further thanked Pakistan for providing the Boeing 777 plane for the delivery. It was the first of 3 flights planned with PIA, and the WHO said it was working to ensure this week's shipment is the first of many. PIA Chief Executive Officer, CEO, Arshad Malik said it was the national flag carrier's moral responsibility to help people in Afghanistan. PIA will continue humanitarian missions on the instructions of the Pakistan government and the aviation minister, he said in a statement. Accidents and incidents, edit. The airline has lost more than 30 aircraft in crashes and other events, including 20 fatal crashes. There have also been at least 8 hijacking incidents involving the airline's aircraft between 1971 and 2017. One in October 1952, an Orient Airways flight carrying cargo from Karachi to Dhaka crashed. 1 of 3 was killed in this crash. 2 on Monday the 3rd of August 1953. The Douglas DC-3 registered APAAD was operating on a Hajj flight, carrying pilgrims from Karachi to Jeddah via Sharjah and Bahrain. The leg to Bahrain was to be flown by the first officer from the left-hand seat. Shortly after takeoff, the aircraft entered a steep descending turn. The captain took over control but could not recover the aircraft. The Douglas DC-3 struck the ground. 1 of 25 was killed in this crash. The accident resulted from the loss of control of the aircraft by the first officer shortly after taking off on a dark night when instrument flying was necessary. This loss of control was due to the inability of the first officer to fly on instruments. The responsibility for the accident is attributed to the captain for failing to supervise the piloting of the aircraft by the first officer. 3 Pakistan International Airlines experienced its first recorded hull loss in 1956. A Douglas DC-3 flew into a mountain on the 25th of February while on a cargo flight from Gilgit to Islamabad in poor weather, killing the 3 crew members on board. 4 on the 1st of July 1957, a Douglas DC-3 registered APAJS, operating a domestic flight from Chittagong to Dhaka in East Pakistan, now Bangladesh, crashed on a mudflat in the Bay of Bengal, killing all 20 passengers and 4 crew members on board. 5 on the 15th of May 1958, a Convair CV-240 with the registration APAH, operating as Flight 205 from Delhi to Karachi, crashed and caught fire moments after it took off from Delhi's Palam airport on a moonless night in dusty conditions. The investigation attributed the crash to the captain experiencing a night cinematographic illusion, resulting in the aircraft descending shortly after it became airborne. 4 of the 6 crew members and 21 of the 38 passengers on board were killed. 2 people on the ground were also killed. 6 on the 18th of May 1959, a 4-month-old Vickers Viscount with the registration APAJC was damaged beyond economic repair in a landing accident at Islamabad International Airport. The aircraft ran off the runway into a rainwater channel. There were no fatalities. 3 months after the first Viscount crash, the airline lost another on the 14th of August 1959. The Viscount, registered APAJE, crashed at Karachi International Airport during a pilot training flight, while attempting an overshoot with 2 engines inoperative. 2 of the 3 people on board were killed. 8 on the 26th of March 1965, a Douglas DC-3 registered APR crashed in mountainous terrain near the Lowri Pass on a domestic flight from Peshawar to Chitral, killing the 4 crew members and 18 of the 22 passengers on board. 8 weeks later, on the 20th of May 1965, a Boeing 720 operating as Flight 705 crashed while descending to land on runway 34 at Cairo International Airport, resulting in 121 fatalities. 2 on the 8th of October 1965, a Fokker F-27 Friendship, with less than 500 hours flying time since it was delivered new to the airline earlier in the year, crashed while on a domestic cargo flight from Rawalpindi to Skardu. The aircraft, registered APATT, hit a ridge near the village of Pashan and slid down its side, the remains coming to rest more than 1,000 feet, 300 m, below the impact point. The 4 crew members on board were killed. 3 on the 2nd of February 1966, Flight 17, operated by a Sikorsky S-61 helicopter, crashed on a scheduled domestic flight in East Pakistan after the main gearbox failed, killing 23 of the 24 passengers and crew on board. 4 on the 6th of August 1970, a Fokker F-27 Friendship registered APALM, operating a domestic flight from Rawalpindi to Lahore, crashed at high speed a few minutes after taking off from Rawalpindi in stormy weather. All 26 passengers and 4 crew members on board were killed. 5 on the 3rd of December 1971, a French national's attempt to hijack a PIA flight, Boeing 720B, from Paris to Karachi was thwarted by French security forces. 6 on the 8th of December 1972, a Fokker F-27 Friendship registered APAUS, operating a domestic flight between Gilgit and Rawalpindi in rainy weather as Flight 631, crashed in mountainous terrain. There were no survivors among the 22 passengers and 4 crew members on board. 7 on the 20th of January 1978, a PIA Fokker F-27, registered APALW, aircraft at Karachi with 22 passengers on board was hijacked by a gunman who asked to be flown to India. The then chairman of PIA, Air Marshal RETD, Nur Khan, boarded the aircraft to negotiate with the hijacker. He received a gunshot wound while trying to disarm the hijacker but still managed to overpower him. 8 on the 26th of November 1979, Flight 740 was a Boeing 707-320C that crashed after takeoff from Jeddah International Airport for a flight to Karachi, resulting in 156 fatalities. 9 on the 2nd of March 1981, Flight 326 was hijacked by 3 gunmen and flown to Kabul. For almost 2 weeks, more than 100 passengers were held captive on the Boeing 720 until Pakistan released 55 prisoners. One passenger, Pakistani diplomat Tariq Rahim, was murdered during the ordeal. 10 On the 4th of February 1986, a Boeing 747 registered as a PAYW made a belly landing at Islamabad Airport around 9 a.m. The aircraft was operating Flight 300 from Karachi with 247 passengers and 17 crew members on board. Everyone survived this accident caused by pilot error. 11. On the 23rd of October 1986, a Fokker F-27 aircraft crashed during approach to Peshawar Airport. Of the 54 passengers and crew on board, 13 were killed in the accident. 12 On the 25th of August 1989, a Fokker F-27 operating as Flight 404 disappeared shortly after taking off from Gilgit Airport. All 54 passengers and crew on board were presumed killed. 1 On the 28th of September 1992, Flight 268, an Airbus A300B4-200 registration APBCP, crashed on approach to Kathmandu's Tribhuvan International Airport. All 167 on board were killed. 2 On the 27th of December 1997, a Pakistan Airlines Boeing 747 plane from Karachi to London, crashed when landing at Dubai International Airport. It overshot the runway and went through the perimeter wall before coming to rest. No one was killed. 3 On the 25th of May 1998, a Fokker F-27 Friendship operating as Flight 544 was hijacked. All passengers and crew escaped unhurt. 4 On the 17th of October 2001, Pakistan International Airlines Flight 231, an Airbus A300, from Islamabad via Peshawar veered off the side of the runway after the right-hand main landing gear collapsed as it touched down. The aircraft skidded and eventually came to rest in sand 50 meters from the runway. The aircraft sustained damage to its right wing structure and right engine, which partly broke off the wing. All 205 crew and passengers, which included high-profile American political commentator and talk show host Tucker Carlson and his father Dick Carlson, evacuated safely. 5 On the 1st of March 2004, Pakistan International Airlines Flight 2002, Airbus A300B4-203 registration APBBA, burst 2 tires whilst taking off from King Abdulaziz International Airport. Fragments of the tire were ingested by the engines, which caused the engines to catch fire and an aborted takeoff was performed. Due to the fire, substantial damage to the engine and the left wing caused the aircraft to be written off. All 261 passengers and 12 crew survived. 6 On the 10th of July 2006, Flight 688, a Fokker F-27 operating from Multan to Lahore and then to Islamabad, crashed in a field after bursting into flames a few minutes after takeoff from Multan International Airport. All 41 passengers and 4 crew members on board were killed. 7 On the 25th of September 2010, a PIA Boeing 777-200LR registered APBGY, flying from Toronto to Karachi, made an emergency landing at Stockholm Arlanda Airport after a phone call was made claiming a passenger on board was armed with explosives. After the plane landed in Stockholm, it was parked at an emergency stand and the suspected passenger was removed from the plane by Swedish authorities. The rest of the passengers were also removed and the empty aircraft was searched. The plane and passengers were allowed to depart Sweden while the suspect was detained in the country for further investigation, but was later released after no evidence was found of the allegation made against him. 8 on the 31st of August, 2012, ATR 42500 registration APBHJ, operating flight 653 from Islamabad to Lahore, was landing at Alamar Iqbal International Airport when it undershot the runway and came to rest on a grassy area on the right side of runway 36R. There were no fatalities among the 42 passengers and 4 crew members. The aircraft was damaged beyond repair and withdrawn from service. 9 on the 11th of February, 2013, a Boeing 737 aircraft registered APBEH was operating flight 209